The sirens weren't supposed to be for him. Special Agent Malik Rivers had spent 3 years undercover, living a double life in the underworld of arms trafficking, walking a tightrope between justice and survival. He had memorized every code, every line of protocol, every emergency signal, except this. This wasn't part of the plan. In the heart of downtown Manhattan, with the sun burning behind mirrored skyscrapers and 1,000 eyes filming from sidewalks, Malik did the unthinkable. He arrested the richest man in America, and within minutes, the NYPD had their guns on him, not the billionaire. Malik Rivers wasn't born for quiet rooms. He thrived in the blur between right and wrong, that volatile space where lawmen wore masks and criminals offered respect. He grew up in Baltimore, raised by a mother who worked 3 jobs, and a grandfather who'd fought in Korea, teaching him that courage wasn't about muscle, but standing straight when the system buckled around you. At 27, Malik was the youngest black agent in his FBI field office, recruited straight out of military intelligence school. Sharp, analytical, invisible when he needed to be. But it was his swagger, the kind that came from the streets, that made him ideal for infiltration work. That, and he didn't look like a Fed. His current assignment had swallowed 3 years of his life. He went by the name Tone in the streets, a mid-level enforcer for one of New York's most elusive criminal syndicates, the Talon Crew. Their specialty, untraceable weapons. But beneath the dirty money, Malik had uncovered something darker, something that led straight to billionaire real estate mogul Victor Langston. Langston, known for clean-cut public speeches, charity foundations, and luxury tech campuses, was funding international arms deals through shell companies and crypto laundering. Every move was protected by an army of lawyers, politicians, and police captains on his payroll. Malik's cover was deep, but not impenetrable. The deeper he went, the more corruption he saw in law enforcement itself. So, he planned something desperate. Expose Langston in broad daylight, force the world to watch, and force justice to act. The arrest would be a message. But what Malik didn't count on was the NYPD showing up as if he was the criminal. 2 weeks before the arrest, Malik sat in a dim corner of a Harlem barbershop called Precision Cuts, where backroom deals had more value than haircuts. In the chair next to him, a Talon enforcer named Rico bragged about his latest acquisition, a check-made anti-materiel rifle stashed in a midtown parking structure. Malik pretended to be half listening, nodding as the barber, Mike, lined up his fade. "You hear what I said, Tone? That thing could shoot through a car engine. Straight armor piercing. Langston's boys gonna love it. Langston's boys." Malik's ears perked, but his eyes didn't move. He knew better than to look too interested. "Yeah," Malik said, chewing on a toothpick. "But that shit ain't cheap," Rico grinned. "Don't matter. Big Vic ain't hurting. You know how much crypto they moved through Shanghai last week? 10 mil, bruh. Clean." It was moments like these that Malik memorized in slow motion. Every slang term, every dollar figure, every foreign city. It all built a map of Langston's web. Still, getting that to stick in court was like trying to punch fog. At the bureau. Needed hard evidence, contracts, transcripts, confessions, and time was running out. He exited the shop later that night, walking through Harlem's shadows like a ghost. He passed under neon signs and loitering teens without looking back. In his pocket was a burner phone, one of 5, and a thumb drive disguised as a money clip. On it were recordings of the day's conversation. His contact in the bureau, Special Agent Aria Velasquez, had been pushing him to pull the plug. "It's too deep, Malik," she warned last week. "Langston's untouchable. You're one wrong word from disappearing." But Malik wasn't ready to run. He wasn't in this to catch a few small-time smugglers. He wanted the architect. He wanted Victor Langston in cuffs, and he had one shot left. The call came just after midnight. Malik was holed up in a one-room walk-up in the Bronx that smelled of mildew and secrets. He let it ring 3 times before answering. "You alone?" asked a voice that belonged to Andre Vega, Langston's personal fixer, and the man Malik had spent the last 6 months shadowing from the inside. "Yeah," Malik said, stifling a yawn. "What's up?" "Langston wants a face-to-face. Tomorrow, noon, Bryant Park. Bring the briefcase." The line went dead. Malik stared at the phone like it had just threatened his life, and maybe it had. A public meeting with the billionaire wasn't just rare, it was dangerous. If Langston suspected anything, this could be a setup. He didn't sleep that night. He prepped. By morning, he was dressed in streetwear, a black hoodie, gold chain, sneakers clean enough to flash but not scream money. Hidden beneath the hoodie, taped to his chest, was a high-definition mic. In his pocket, the same burner phone and a loaded Glock. At 11:58 a.m., he stood in the middle of Bryant Park, the sound of fountains and laughter playing against the cold, edge of anxiety crawling through his ribs. Then Langston appeared, dressed in a charcoal gray tailored suit, walking with 2 men in matching sunglasses and earpieces. Malik approached. Slowly. Casually. Langston smiled like a man who believed in his own invincibility. "Mr. Tone, I hear you've been busy. You know me, always grinding." Langston gestured to a nearby bench. "Let's talk." They sat. One of the bodyguards stood behind Malik's shoulder. The other scanned the crowd. "You've done..." "Well," Langston said, "Rico trusts you. So do the Nigerians. That means I can trust you. But I need confirmation. A loyalty test." Malik's heartbeat quickened. "What kind of test?" "There's a cop," Langston said smoothly. "Midtown. Vice. Been poking where he shouldn't. I want him gone." "Gone? Like fired?" "Gone. Like dead." Malik didn't flinch. He couldn't. "I'll handle it," he said. Langston smiled again. "Good. There's a silver lining in all this, Tone. Trust is like currency. Spend it wisely." As Langston walked away, Malik remained seated, the weight of the conversation pressing down on him like lead. His recorder had captured every word, but now he was under the clock. The plan had to move faster. He called Arya that night. "It's go time," he said. "We move in 7 days." The Bureau launched the net the very next morning. Arya Velasquez and a special task unit parked 2 unmarked surveillance vans near Langston's Manhattan high-rise. Inside, analysts monitored phone pings, GPS signals, and encrypted financial traffic. They logged everything: times, aliases, shell companies, shipping manifests. Arya had gone to war with her own supervisors to get this operation greenlit. "Langston's planning something," she said, pointing at a wall of digital intel inside the mobile command center. "The cop hit he ordered? That was a test. He's about to go dark." Malik played his part flawlessly. He stayed in character. He called Vega with questions about weapons pickups. He met with Rico and exchanged coded details. But every meeting, every phrase, every breath was recorded. The Bureau now had hundreds of pages of transcripts and hours of audio. But Langston still hadn't tied himself directly to a transaction. The feds needed a catch on camera. Arya proposed a bold plan, a fake weapons drop, one that would be surveilled from every angle, including drones. If Langston sent someone to oversee the deal, and Malik could implicate him verbally, it would be enough for the DA. They picked a warehouse in Long Island City. A rented space with a clear field of vision and easy exits. The shipment would be mock rifles and crates filled with decoy parts. Malik was hesitant. "He's paranoid," he told Arya. "If I screw this up, I'm a dead man." She looked him dead in the eye. "That's why I'm putting 2 snipers on standby and a team behind the wall. We won't let you die for this." Malik nodded. He wanted to believe her. The night before the drop, he recorded a final journal entry into his encrypted recorder. "If this goes sideways, let it be known I tried. I tried to break the cycle. I tried to burn the rot out from the inside. The date was set, 48 hours from now, and Victor Langston's empire was about to face the light. Rain slicked the streets of Long Island City like oil, smearing the light from flickering lamps and delivery trucks. Malik arrived at the warehouse in an unmarked black SUV just before 10 p.m. He parked where instructed, exactly between the loading dock and the graffiti-tagged brick wall. He stepped out, hood up, jaw clenched. Inside the warehouse, agents in plain clothes played the role of arms dealers. Surveillance cameras disguised in crates and rafters were rolling. 2 sniper teams covered the scene from rooftops across the street. The air smelled like old copper and wet cement. Malik walked through the open roll-up door. Inside, crates were stacked haphazardly. A table had been set with forged documents and fake ledgers. At the far end, a man emerged from the shadows. Not Langston. Vega wore a bomber jacket and gloves. His expression was unreadable. "You alone?" he asked. "Always," Malik replied, his voice cold. Vega circled one of the crates, tapping it with his knuckles. "Looks light." "It's real," Malik said. "Weighed it myself." "You know Langston doesn't like surprises," Malik raised an eyebrow. "Neither do I." "You got the cash?" Vega reached into his jacket, pulled out a phone, and showed him a live screen. A crypto wallet transfer. Ready to go. Malik checked the code. It matched the signal Arya had set. Confirmation. That's when it happened. Tires screeched outside. A second car arrived. Unexpected. 4 men got out, 2 with duffel bags, 2 with shotguns. Malik tensed. Vega looked up, confused. I didn't call back up. Neither did Malik. But then it clicked. Langston didn't trust anyone, and he had sent 2 teams, 1 to buy, 1 to kill. The city lights flickered like distant stars as Malik Jackson stood in the middle of the crowded intersection, heart pounding beneath the heavy weight of his disguise. The tailored leather jacket, gold chain, and hardened swagger were more than a costume. They were his armor. Around him, a swarm of bystanders and luxury cars pulsed with energy, unaware the night was about to explode. In front of Malik, the billionaire, a man whose name had headlines plastered across every news outlet, laughed with a group of bodyguards, confident in his untouchable status. Malik's voice dropped low, steady. "You're done. Hands where I can see 'em." The billionaire's smirk faltered as the crowd grew tense, whispers rising like a storm. Then came the sirens, wailing, urgent, slicing through the thick air. Police cruisers screeched to a halt around them, blue and red lights painting. The scene with surreal colors. "FBI, step aside!" Malik shouted, his voice cracking like thunder. But the officers hesitated, eyes narrowing suspiciously at the man who looked every bit like a gangster claiming to take down a titan. Suddenly, a cop's hand went to his holstered gun. "Drop the weapon! Hands up!" The line of officers advanced, their faces hard and unyielding. Malik's world tightened. Years of training kicked in, every muscle taut. "I'm with the Bureau!" he shouted, flashing his badge for a fleeting second. But it was drowned in the chaos. Before Malik could react, a shove sent him staggering back, bodyguards flanking the billionaire ready to strike. The crowd screamed and surged forward, panic igniting like wildfire. In a blur, Malik dropped low, dodging a baton swing, returning a swift counterpunch to the closest officer. The fight erupted, fists, shouts, and the harsh clang of law enforcement clashing with a storm disguised as a man. Amid the chaos, Malik locked eyes with the billionaire. Trapped, furious, yet powerless. The mission was far from over. But Malik knew one thing for certain. To bring this man down, he'd have to survive the firestorm blazing around him. Malik pivoted sharply as Officer Daniels lunged forward, baton swinging in a deadly arc. Instinctively, Malik caught the baton, mid-swing with a hard forearm block, gritting his teeth as the force rattled through his bones. Without hesitation, Malik spun low and delivered a precise elbow strike to Daniels's ribs. A sharp crack echoed, and the officer staggered back, wind knocked out. From the corner of his eye, Malik saw two bodyguards rushing in from opposite sides, their bulky frames cutting through the crowd like wrecking balls. Malik ducked beneath the first's wild haymaker punch, his knees bending like springs. He twisted and drove a brutal palm strike straight to the bodyguard's solar plexus. The man doubled over, gasping for air. The second bodyguard charged, aiming a heavy right hook at Malik's jaw. Malik stepped in close, grabbing the wrist mid-air and twisting hard. A quick snap of the arm sent the attacker crashing into a nearby luxury sedan, denting the door with a thud. The police had regrouped, now firing commands. "Drop the weapon! FBI or not, you're under arrest," another officer yelled, gun drawn and pointed. Malik didn't hesitate. He grabbed a discarded baton off the ground, gripping it tight. A barrage of punches came from every side. Malik blocked, parried, and countered with a brutal efficiency born from years of training. He ducked under a wild swing, pivoted, and swung the baton horizontally, striking an officer's forearm with a sickening crack. The officer dropped the baton, clutching his arm in pain. The billionaire was yelling, trying to slip away amidst the chaos, but Malik was faster. He tackled the man to the ground, pinning him with relentless force. "You're done, FBI!" Malik shouted, cuffing the billionaire's wrists. But the fight wasn't over. From behind, another cop charged, swinging a baton. Malik barely dodged, feeling the rush of air as the baton passed inches from his head. He retaliated with a powerful uppercut, sending the officer staggering back. The crowd was screaming now, some cheering, some panicking. Malik's breath came heavy, sweat mixing with the grit of the street. His eyes locked on the flashing police lights, the encircling officers, and the man beneath him. The mission was dangerous, the stakes deadly. But Malik was ready to fight for every second, for justice, for truth, for the city. Malik's grip on the billionaire tightened as he scanned for the next threat. A cop charged again, this time wielding a heavy flashlight like a club. Malik sidestepped, grabbed the flashlight mid-swing and twisted sharply, sending the officer stumbling forward. A second officer swung a wild haymaker toward Malik's head. Malik ducked low, rolled forward, and sprang up behind the attacker. With a quick jab to the back of the knee, the officer buckled. Malik didn't stop. He drove a knee into the small of the man's back, sending him crashing face first onto the pavement. From the corner of his eye, Malik spotted a bodyguard rushing with a clenched fist. Malik sidestepped again, grabbed the man's wrist, and twisted into a powerful wrist lock. The bodyguard yelped, dropping his punch, and Malik used the momentum to slam him against a nearby lamppost. Two officers closed in simultaneously. Malik reacted instinctively. Spinning low, he swept the legs of one with a sharp kick, sending him crashing down. The second tried to tackle Malik, but Malik caught his collar, used his own momentum, and flipped him over with a judo throw. The billionaire was still struggling beneath Malik's weight, yelling curses, but Malik stayed focused. He pulled out handcuffs and snapped them on. Just as Malik finished, a heavy hand grabbed his jacket from behind. Malik twisted sharply, breaking the grip, and delivered a brutal uppercut to the attacker's jaw, a cop whose face snapped back. With a grunt. Malik's breath was heavy, sweat slicking his forehead, but his eyes burned with determination. The fight wasn't just about muscle. It was a dance of survival, timing, and will. Malik's muscles screamed with fatigue, but adrenaline surged through his veins like wildfire. The billionaire lay cuffed beneath him, snarling venomous threats, but Malik's focus was already shifting toward the tightening circle of officers. They weren't backing down. Neither was he. A sharp crack echoed nearby as a patrol car's window shattered under a stray punch. The crowd's roar swelled, some shouting support, others urging police to act faster. Malik's instincts sharpened. This was no longer just an arrest. It was a war zone. Keep control. Don't let it slip, Malik told himself. Suddenly, a heavy boot slammed into Malik's side, knocking the wind out of him. He stumbled, but twisted mid-fall, using the momentum to launch a spinning back kick into the attacker's chest. The man flew back, crashing into a street vendor's cart. Before Malik could catch his breath, another officer charged, baton raised. Malik ducked, rolled forward, and sprang to his feet just in time to intercept the strike. With a snap, he grabbed the baton and yanked it down, wrenching it free. Using the baton, Malik blocked a series of quick punches, then swept low, tripping an officer off his feet. The man hit the pavement hard, groaning. Malik's eyes flicked to the billionaire again. Still struggling, but subdued. This ends tonight. He moved swiftly, dragging the billionaire toward the patrol cars. The officers regrouped, their numbers relentless, but Malik pushed forward, fists clenched, ready for the next wave. The city's heart was pounding around them, alive with chaos and possibility. Malik wasn't just fighting for this arrest. He was fighting for justice to break through the shadows. Malik hauled the billionaire toward the nearest patrol car, struggling against the man's surprising strength. Suddenly, the crowd surged. Some faces twisted with anger, others with fear. A bottle flew through the air, shattering against the asphalt inches from Malik's head. "Back off!" Malik barked, tightening his grip. But the crowd wasn't backing. Down. The police pushed forward, trying to regain control, and the street erupted into chaos. From the corner of his eye, Malik spotted a flash, a figure slipping through the throng. One of the billionaire's bodyguards, making a desperate break for a sleek black SUV parked nearby. Without hesitation, Malik sprinted after him, weaving through the frantic crowd. The bodyguard was quick, but Malik's determination was fiercer. "Stop!" Malik yelled, grabbing the man's shoulder and spinning him around. The bodyguard swung a heavy punch, but Malik ducked and countered with a sharp jab to the jaw. The man staggered back, eyes wide with surprise. Malik cuffed him quickly. As Malik secured the second suspect, the noise behind him grew louder. Police radios crackled, sirens blared, and the crowd's roar turned into a dangerous chant. The arrest had ignited a powder keg. Malik glanced back at the scene, the billionaire still cuffed, police regaining ground, but the battle far from over. He took a deep breath, ready for whatever came next. The wail of additional sirens tore through the night air like a scream. Malik's eyes darted toward the streets as more police cruisers skidded to a halt, flooding the intersection with blue and red flashes. Backup had arrived. Officers poured out, shields raised and batons at the ready, forming a tight perimeter around the chaotic scene. Commands echoed sharply. "Form a line! Contain the crowd! Protect the suspects!" Malik's muscles tensed, aware the newcomers didn't know him, just another figure in the fray. He raised his hands, badge glinting under the streetlights. "FBI, stand down!" he called out, voice slicing through the chaos. A stern-faced captain stepped forward, eyes narrowing. "You're the rogue in this mess?" His tone was sharp, suspicious. "No," Malik said firmly. "Undercover operation. The billionaire and 2 bodyguards are in custody." The captain's gaze flicked to the cuffed men. Slowly, his posture relaxed, but the tension lingered like a low growl. Suddenly, from the crowd came a surge, people pushing against the police line, angry and desperate. The officers braced, shields locking together, batons raised. Malik moved beside the captain, scanning the crowd. "We need to move the suspects to the armored van, now." "Agreed," the captain replied. "But we're not moving until this." Crowd disperses. Malik's jaw clenched. The crowd wasn't just angry. They were ready to fight. "On my signal," Malik said, "we'll create a corridor and move fast." The officers nodded. Muscles coiled for the coming storm. The air crackled with tension as Malik prepared for the next phase. A battle not just for custody, but for control of the night itself.